Hi, and welcome to the commentary track for the Significance of Tad Barlow. My name is David Ball. I am a co-director, co-writer, co-producer.
And this is Todd Russell. I'm a co-writer, co-director, co-producer also. And what you're seeing now is the initial scene.
First scene, the very first scene. And how do you feel about how we did the title sequence here? I like it, but I don't like it. I feel like it's kind of choppy.
I think it's okay with what we had to work with. Like
Right.
I think it's funny that we took the pictures in your garage.
Yes,
Like of the books, like over three or 400 pictures, wasn't it?
Yes, it was ridiculous amount of pictures.
And then you skillfully went in and put
them all together.
These titles and
I
gave
think
a little
though,
emotion and depth.
I think the thing about this is, initially in the script, it was a lot more complex as far as shots. Like it was more the car driving around, so you get a sense that the car was driving from farther away.
Yeah.
And on the day when we decided to shoot it, it ended up being a huge scheduling issue, and we ran out of time to do it on the scale that we needed to.
Yeah, I remember, because we rushed out and I jumped in the car with them for us to get some sort of eternal scenes, like with the last half an hour that we had. So those eternal shots were really got in a crunch. I mean, we just drove around the block, I think, 3 times.
So instead of 20 shots for this scene, we ended up with 6 shots, and we worked out well. I mean, that's kind of what we had to work with.
This is actually the second run of this scene. The first scene had Manny Flowers in it.
That's right.
We couldn't get him for the reshoots, and we wanted to kind of, I don't know, refurbish this whole scene.
Right.
So Alec Rossell was one of the people that was.
I think it's the other. I think it's C. Alec Rossell.
Oh, it's C. Alec Rossell.
Just like C. Montgomery Burns.
Yeah. C.
That's
monkeys.
Sweet. Here's the thing. Okay. Honestly, if I had the chance, I would go back. I would be D. Christian Ball. Wouldn't you? Would you be T. Eugene Russell? Wouldn't that be sweet?
No, I would
Dude,
not
that
be
would be so awesome.
I would not be T. Eugene Russell.
I think that would
be
so
awesome. If I had a different
awesome.
middle name, I would be all about it. It would be
crazy.
like T. Dirk Diggler Russell.
Dirk Diggler.
Yeah.
You know what I think is weird is that we've been working on this for so long now that I actually know your middle name. Like I can just pull it right out and just pop it right out.
That's true. I don't know the middle name of, I think, a majority of my friends, but
Here's
I
the
do
thing.
know your middle name.
Yeah, see, exactly. It's creepy. It's sort of like, it's a weird man marriage that we have here. You know what I mean? It's just...
And now that we've said man marriage on the
commentary track,
it's awesome.
It's going to be out there. Everyone's going to start saying man marriage. A bromance is the other word that I meant.
Bromance.
A
That's
bromance.
fantastic.
Isn't it good? I wish I'm going to claim credit for it, but I didn't.
This is my associate, Mr. Curtan. He takes care of my personal effects.
So this is the second time that we shot this scene too. We reshot this scene because the first one looked awful, in my opinion. We shot it. It was probably the first or second scene that we shot.
I think it was definitely the second or third. Like we wanted to get it out of the way because we really couldn't stand it.
Right. It was really bad. It was poorly lit. The camera angles were weird.
The initial continuity too, because Leslie, later in the scene, falls, like the dish throwing. We didn't actually have her throw a dish.
Right.
Like we were gonna naively just kind of chuck that in special effects.
Exactly.
Until they work out.
I think this scene works so much better now than it did before. It's just the angles are better. I think we really planned it too. I mean, we had a really good plan.
Well, in the initial scene, Kiely's brought in being followed by a dolly that we built.
That's true.
The whole next set of shooting. So
yeah,
it's a way to kind of follow him into the scene as opposed to just kind of abruptly throwing it in your face.
One would say we elevated our game for this.
Yes.
I think that everything that we've ever done, starting with the little project that we did when we worked at Blockbuster, I think everything has successively gotten more and more well planned.
Yes.
I think someday we'll probably make a movie and we won't even have to show up. It'll just be like so
it'll
well
be
planned.
so
People will just know.
So well greased.
They'll just know.
That it'll just be like, oh, that's Todd and Dave.
Exactly. I love this scene. I really do. I think there are a lot of people that are going to look at it and go, oh, it's underlit. It's, you know, whatever. But I really do love this scene. Because this camera does not shoot well in low light situations.
Yeah.
You know, it's a DV camera. It's an older DV camera. It wasn't the greatest in low light situations. But this scene, I think we got just enough light into it to make it look good. And it feels like art to me. It feels like art. It feels like art.
This is one of those scenes where we brought the camera in the room and set it down to kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Set up everybody where we wanted them to be, and then went back to the camera to actually, you know, frame up the scene, and the camera was set in the exact spot that we ended up filming the whole scene in.
That's right. That's right. I love that. I love that little rim light on his glasses. You can just see his glasses a little bit.
The reflection.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's like a piece of his soul.
It is. Like a tiny piece of his soul. I'm going to try and refrain from doing a lot of accents during the commentary track.
Really?
Yeah. Because I really do like accents. But I feel like they're like a crutch, like an emotional crutch. It's like, oh, hey, when you talk, you're boring. People want to hear it do like a funny accent.
Do a German accent.
Do a German.
You'll totally not be boring.
Exactly.
You could read the back of a
How did you know it was
Jack
German? Because German's
box.
like my favorite accent to do. Oh, I'd love to do a German accent. Oh, jeez. I'm just thinking. We're also going to have to keep swearing to a minimum during the commentary track, so you can't swear. Well, okay. So that shut you right up, didn't it?
The first thing I wanted to do was...
I just own this commentary track from the get-go. We only have 75 more minutes to
That's
go.
Just because you cut off my redneck dialect.
That's right.
Like, now I can't say shit.
Can't say it. Oh, I like this scene, too.
I think this scene points out, like, just some of the I don't want to say, like, wasted time, but we actually went in and created, like, all of those images on those books, and that's the only time that you see them.
Yes, that's true.
Like, each individual. Like, I went to the library to scan, like, images off of old comic books and just anything else I could find, and Dave came up with these great covers that, yep, that's it.
That's all you get to see. I think, though, and I think this is something we should probably talk about, too, is that the story over time really changed from sort of our initial concepts to what you're seeing right now. And it's really interesting when you look at what we started out with, how we ended up here. And I think I guess I'll call it the version right before what you're seeing on screen. I think those books played a much bigger role in what was going on. Like, you were going to see them a lot more often.
Well, he carried them around all the time.
Right,
like,
exactly. And I guess as we put it together, they just felt less and less important.
Yeah. Well, they ended up being kind of proppy.
Right.
Like, we were forcing them in.
They're really proppy. Look, a book.
Look, a book.
Hi there.
Look, you can see the cover perfectly within the camera angle.
Exactly. So I really like that, though, and that's, if nothing else about this movie is great, I think that the level of detail that we injected into it really makes it something special.
Yeah.
You know, and our willingness to just take that detail and kind of throw it in the background as though it were unimportant.
Yeah, and
it's
not
just
forced, like, not showcase it. It's not sort of forced.
Exactly.
It's just an accent that takes place.
Right, it's just like a little thing that you see in the background, and it just sort of helps you, I don't know, feel like you're watching something a little more realistic than a bunch of people in my mom's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what this movie is. It's just a bunch of people running through my mom's house, in your mom's house, and various other locations that didn't cost us money.
Yes, yes.
Such as outdoors. So this is a sweet little scene, too.
This we had initially shot. Well, we shot again.
Did we reshoot this?
Yeah, we reshot it.
Did we keep her? I think we kept Leslie's.
I think we kept Leslie's reversal.
Yeah.
Like, but we initially remember trying to use the crane.
Oh, did we try and use the crane for this?
Yeah.
Oh.
For the establishing and the end shot, we tried to.
Oh, is this when the arm?
And it just was.
The arm broke.
I don't know if it broke. I just don't think the movement was exactly what we wanted.
Right.
Now my hand hurts.
We tried for about an hour, and I think just scrapped the idea because it was much better just to get some sort of, like, establishing wide.
Right.
that's about it.
The board that we used, the initial board that we used to build the jib, okay, was my drawing board from art school. Like, you get like a drawing board.
Like old plywood with it, right?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like plywood, but what it is like, it's a really thin board over top of what is, it's basically, it was like cardboard, and I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's actually cardboard. Like, the inside of it is cardboard,
it was
like corrugated
awesome.
cardboard. And I suppose the reason they did it was so that it would be light for you to carry around, but I didn't realize it until I was over, this was probably like 3 weeks ago, I was over at a co-worker's house, who the co-worker also went to the same school.
And had the same kind of board?
He had the same kind of board, and he had cut it up really bad. Okay, like from cutting like X-Acto blades on it.
Yeah.
And you could see like down inside the board, and it was like corrugated cardboard. And I remember looking at it and then thinking about using that as the base for the jib, and I felt so freaking stupid. I was like, oh, that's why it didn't work, because it's filled with cardboard.
So heavy, man. Like,
Exactly.
It's like big
It's
pipe
huge
with
iron
bolted
pipe.
down in the middle that
Right,
was supposed
exactly.
Well, what have you been up to?
This is Tiffany Arnold's actually her first scene, and the first scene that she shares with Daniel Allen Kiely.
Do you feel awkward using Dan's full name like that, Daniel Allen Kiely?
Yeah,
Because
it's
we
the
call
middle
them
part that throws me off, because nobody else uses their middle.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's just like an added.
Exactly. Well, Brian, you remember Brian went as Bryan Arnold for a while, like when we first met Brian. That's what he was. But see, the thing is like as we worked together and we all became friends, it was not like Daniel Allen Kiely is like weird for me to say. It's like, oh, well, that's Dan. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but that was a whole sidetrack. But anyway, I like Dan's name, Daniel Allen Kiely. Daniel Allen Rilo Kiely is what I like to call him.
Yeah.
Just behind his back.
I just like it
He's
because it's short for Dak.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
just, I think, like, emulates power.
Yeah, exactly. It just,
So.
yeah, completely. So this scene has, this is sort of the, I don't want to say the start of the audio issues, but this was one of the first scenes where we realized how hard it was going to be to shoot outside and get clean audio. It just wasn't possible. My mom lives at, what would you call that shape of street? It's like a horseshoe
It's
shaped
like a
street.
cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac, sort of,
Yeah.
yes.
Even though-
And at the end of it, the far end of it, is a highway.
Yes.
So we're constantly getting highway noise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lawnmowers.
Lawnmowers,
this is like
highway
spring,
noise.
so.
Right, exactly. We get, what were those bugs that make the chirpy noise? There's a lot of that in the background.
Okay.
Cicadas?
Cicadas.
Cicadas.
I never can remember that
Yeah.
shit.
And I think it was one of those things where initially we were like, oh, we'll fix it later. Because we were so naive when we started that we were like, oh,
We
it
didn't
could be
realize
fixed later.
exactly how much ambient sound in the background.
There's
played
a
into
filter. We can take the ambient
filter.
sound out.
Yeah. We'll just use a filter. We'll fix it in post.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. And it didn't happen the way we wanted it to. So as a result, the sound is not great, but it's audible. You can hear everybody. So that was sort of our goal, was that we didn't want it to be too quiet. So,
and this is the first scene at my apartment, or the apartment I had.
Yes, this was your
during the majority of the filming.
That's something else we should talk about, because the filming of this movie took, what is the official tally? Do you want to say like 6 years or 4 years? The actual filming was probably 4.
Did you know that
Yeah,
he was there every day?
the actual filming, like if you're talking about the whole project, it's
Right.
probably closer to 6. I think
That's true.
for ego reasons,
Yes.
we should probably say 5 or no more.
Yes.
But in all reality, it was probably 6, if not more.
Right. I just want to interject this real quick. That's my good buddy Joe Wagner down in the street, who was very nice, or was nice enough to come out and shoot that little insert for us, and he plays the guy out on the street. And we did like a little bit more with Joe.
It was just
funny.
brilliant.
It was
but
hilarious.
just ended up irreverent.
I
It was
I think
just
when we started to cut
right,
everything
exactly.
together.
It was superfluous, I think.
It was so
right. It just
it was so
to
good.
use a $3 word, it was superfluous, but it was really funny, and he was great, and it
all about it.
it hurts my heart inside to know that we had to cut it out.
Yeah.
But, anyway.
like he was.
Like, I hadn't even thought about that scene for a while.
No,
so
Indeed.
I'll be chuckling inside.
I would like to talk briefly as well about Brian's shirt, which is the most expensive prop.
In the whole entire movie, it
The
was
entire
like
movie.
$18, $19.
But
I think
we
was the
felt that we needed that shirt.
Yeah.
We felt that we needed that shirt.
We wanted to establish his character as kind of this over-the-top military type.
Yes.
And we had this exact image. We'd seen the shirt numerous times.
Right.
My rifle is my gun.
Right.
I went on this huge search that took 2 to 3 weeks. I think it ended up just sporadic.
Right.
And finally found it in an Army surplus store off of 161. Not that 161 really means a lot.
Right. Right. The thing that I like about the shirt is that it tells you a lot about Bryan's character, and I like that. Yeah. I like that. The other thing too is I watched The Happening this morning, as I told you before we began.
Yeah.
I watched The Happening this morning, and there's a guy in it, and he's a private. He's a military private, and I don't know if you know the premise of the movie at all, but at certain points, people go insane at certain points.
And kill themselves?
They kill themselves, exactly. But there is a point where you can tell someone's insane because they start to repeat something over and over again. It's the first signs that they're going insane.
Nice.
Okay. And so, obviously, there's a lot of different people that say different things. But this private, when he goes insane, first you stop, and then you freeze, and then you start to repeat something. You know, there's a whole protocol to it that they set up in the movie. But the private starts to scream. His thing that he starts to scream right before he dies is, "My firearm is my friend. My firearm is my friend. My firearm is my friend."
Yeah.
Which is very similar to what's on the T-shirt here, and is something I'm sure that's taught to. I've never been in the military, I don't know, but I'm sure it's something that's taught to you in the military because your gun is expensive, and I'm sure the Army doesn't want to pay for you to get another one.
I'm sure they just
in case you use it to jimmy open a door or hold down some papers on a windy day or something like that. They want to discourage that right off the bat. It's like, hey,
like road rage,
dummy, your gun is important. You know, right, exactly. Don't
shoot it at innocent.
Right, but you don't want to shoot it, but you also don't want to use it for things that
like a door stop.
Use it in gun.
Yeah,
exactly. Right.
Or like
door
stuff
stop. Great example.
In the barrel and
great
try to watch this, guys.
Right. So yeah,
this is Susanna Crescendo.
Let's call her Susanna Crescendo. Cerasuolo, I think is what it is. But I know Susanna wasn't with us for very long, and I don't remember how to say it now.
Yeah.
Once again, and to go back, the filming of this movie took a really long time.
So there were things that fluctuated.
That's right. That's right.
Whether it be parts and assignments, because Susanna actually was initially playing the love interest, Marcy, which now Tiffany Arnold was playing in the finished cut of the movie. But because Susanna was moving out to Seattle, we decided to flip the parts because the sister role was a lot less demanding and it didn't require as much attention.
That's right. Yeah, we could get her done quicker, so that she could move and then have more time with Tiffany. And I think it worked out for the better.
I think it worked out brilliantly. I think I was
as good as Susanna was. Susanna wasn't bad in the role. I mean, she was really great in the role, but it worked out better. And then after we stopped filming for the first time, Tiffany and Bryan got married, and that would have been very awkward had they been brother and sister.
Because they were cast as brother and sister.
Yeah. That's how it started.
That's part of the reason I think
started.
Yes,
as
brother and sister.
Brother and sister,
and then it siblings and went on to.
And then they probably became friends, and then lovers past that. I don't know,
yeah.
But anyway, it's not incestuous when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
So anyway, filming took a ridiculously long amount of time. During this time,
gentle boy.
I lived several different places. I lived probably 4 different places.
And I probably had 6 different cars.
6 different cars, something like that.
And lived in probably just as many places.
Exactly. So it's kind of fun for us to see our various cars pop up in the background.
Yeah.
I think I was carless for 6 months during the shoot. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
When my truck broke, it cost me a lot of money. I was bitter about it, and I swore off cars.
Because I was carless after the truck. Remember that?
You were carless after your truck too?
Obnoxiously large truck.
Exactly. And coincidentally, a good majority of the cast was carless when we shot as well.
Yeah.
Mark, I think, rode the bus a lot because he was having car issues. Dan was carless. Wasn't his girlfriend driving around?
Yeah, Dan was carless at some point.
Tiff was the only person that really had a reliable vehicle because she bought that Volkswagen. Right? Didn't she have?
It's because it's a Volkswagen.
Is that what it is?
That's exactly why.
That could be.
She was the most.
Could be. And I think Leslie always had
responsible,
reliable transportation as well.
Leslie was always.
And I don't remember any issues with Bryan either, but
it's true.
It's true.
You know, I've told Katanga that we should get a timepiece.
But yeah, I think that was the thing that's weird about this is when we started, I never would have thought that. I never would have thought that scheduling would be the hardest thing for this movie, but it was.
Well, I think we made scheduling. No, I don't want to say that we made scheduling any more difficult than anybody else would have, but I think that we really wanted because everybody was volunteering their time, that there was absolutely no compensation listed for these people, that we really tried to make the shooting schedule as light and easy as possible.
Right.
So we shot for 6-hour days, or we shot in between breakfast and lunch for multiple reasons, for people to have a chance to actually have a weekend, for us not to have to pay for any food.
Right.
We did all of this stuff and I think it dragged it out quite a while. But everybody that we picked was really amazing.
Just tell me anything.
Right.
And willing to kind of do whatever they needed to do.
No,
That's true.
Good.
I guess to me though it was extremely frustrating because it was not a creative decision, or it was not a creative process.
No.
And so,
or at least not about who we used per weekends. It was
right, exactly. But it was just anytime we weren't doing creative stuff involved with the project, I felt like it was frustrating.
Yeah.
I felt like all the creative stuff was easy to do in comparison to all the what I will just call administrative stuff.
Yeah. I remember a time when we were preparing the food.
Yeah.
For one of the scenes.
Preparing the food, we made beds at one point.
We made
too.
beds.
Everything
that kind of happens behind the camera is handled by one of us. If not, if we didn't throw a reflector or possibly the boom mic into one of the actors' hands, anything that you see, whether it be the bed being made or something up or sandwiches or food, and I think there were a couple times when we would comedically touch on the fact that we got into filmmaking to make beds and to make dirty rice and
exactly. And it was, you made the dirtiest of dirty rice, my friend.
Oh, I can get my rice dirty.
Your rice gets dirty. It gets dirty. But
So how long has it been since?
Yeah, this. I think it's kind of unique the way that we made this movie. It's unique in the sense that if you think about the way that we think of how movies are made, it's different.
Yeah, I think we just approached it. I don't want to say naively, because I think to some extent, even in the midst of not being clued into all of the aspects of filmmaking, I think that we really approached it in a very genuine way.
Right.
We wrote with stuff that even when we were writing the script, not really even knowing if we were going to cast and shoot, I think we still wrote with stuff that we had and stuff that we had accessibility to.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and I think that honestly, when we actually started to, when we jumped to that what if situation about casting and the possibility of shooting it ourselves, that really made things a lot easier on us.
Right.
Because we had painted in all these locations.
I think the other thing too that I really wanted to stress was that the entire movie was oh hey, let's just see if we could write a script.
No.
Oh hey, let's just see if we could film this script. Let's just see if we could get actors. Let's just see if we could do that. And stuff
see if we could get somebody to show up.
Right. Stuff just kept happening. And even though it happened so slow compared to how we thought it was going to work, it still functioned. It still worked, and it was still, we still completed it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm really excited about for this, is that it was really like a what if scenario.
That kind of dominoed into...
Just spiraled out of control. Quickly spiraled way out of control.
It was like a vortex for independent filmmaking.
That's right.
Pinewood Park?
But we actually did initial auditions, and 2 people showed up.
2 people. After, we were there for, 12 hours? 2 6-hour days? Or
awesome.
2, maybe it was 2
Well, and the 2 people that showed up early. So I was sitting outside with them. We were waiting for you to get there.
That's right. I went to go see A Mighty Wind with my dad.
But it was the second day, remember? And nobody showed up for 8 hours the day before.
Exactly.
So even showing up was ridiculous.
Screw this.
But then and then I think we had a meeting about it being, the auditions were at just a non-public like
location. Yeah.
So I think that it was a little difficult to
It was
get people out.
intimidating.
So we found a library and did the auditions and listed them in all the local newspapers and
That's
stuff like
something
that.
we didn't put that in the credits, but we should really thank the Grandview Public Library because we shot the final scene. What did I say, Grandview? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the Upper Arlington Public Library. That's probably why it's not in the credits. I don't know the name of the stinking library that we used. Yeah, exactly. No, but they're great. And if you are, if you're in the Columbus metro area, there is no finer gathering room.
Awesome.
Beautiful room. If you want to put on a puppet show, God, can you imagine the puppet shows that could go on in that room?
I would. I just cry thinking about it.
I'm just saying, like
the emotion that they would be able to convey with the lighting system that they have set up.
Well, okay, so here's your options: marionette, shadow puppet, sock puppet. Have you even thought about this?
Like,
I'm just thinking,
just
for
because
the
of
future.
the lighting, you would be able to do anything.
I'm just saying for the future, you and me. We
You
drop
wanna do
this
a
whole
movie?
thing with actors, okay?
And we do puppets.
Because they're not like, look at this right now. They're not interpreting our vision correctly. Okay, look at this guy looking up and down
Puppets
at a
would
piece
be
of paper.
So much better.
Right, exactly. I'm thinking puppets are the way to go. Okay,
That would be rough.
because if we start with like sock puppets, okay, just it's a crudely drawn sock puppet. Okay, we can restage the movie with sock puppets. Okay, we make a little Dan sock puppet and a Mark sock puppet, and we restage it.
I think we should go back and film the gaps, like between the scenes with sock puppets.
With sock puppets.
You know what I mean? Like be like the special director's edition.
Okay.
If you know what I mean? And then that way people have this footage stacked next to the sock puppets, and
Right.
they can really, you know what I mean? We can send out scorecards and stuff like that.
That's true.
Like there can
That's
be
true.
like a website tabulation as to
Yes,
sock
exactly.
versus human.
I'm just thinking. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm thinking that stuff is so realistic right now. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like it just really is. And I think it's gonna turn and go the other way. Okay, like I don't know. Have you seen this movie Transformers with the transforming robots?
Yeah.
It looks real. Okay,
It does look
but I think people are gonna get sick of that, and they're gonna want something else. And
Who knew those Transformers were sock puppets? Too,
Exactly.
They just dressed
Well,
up
that's what I'm thinking. In the future, it's gonna go the other way. Sock puppets.
sock puppets.
It's gonna devolve down to
gonna
sock puppets.
devolve.
Maybe.
Nice.
And maybe I don't know. And I'm going on a limb here. Maybe it's finger puppets.
Finger puppets.
So
is
maybe
where
you
think
go-
that we're all the way going.
Well,
to?
no, I'm just saying like maybe like you go see Transformers 10, and this is like 2045. Okay.
There could be a revolution. We should really be careful about throwing this out.
Well, I'm just
You
saying
know what I mean?
2045. You go see Transformers 10 with your grandkids, and it's just Michael Bay's fingers with little
And explosions, like
with
everywhere.
little. But no, I think he would do the explosions with his hands. There would be nothing like that. It would just be like.
No, it needs to be it would need to be like the snap pops. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
There you
so
go.
Like,
Little pop.
like the fingers are walking down the road and.
Right.
Like,
But so
those are huge.
the whole movie, there's only 10 characters because it's just Michael Bay's hands
Yeah.
with little faces drawn
Yeah,
on
but
them.
just imagine, like, he would
You know?
really have to think on his toes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just make your pinky
Right.
a badass.
Exactly.
You have to be able to, like, portray it
Right.
skillfully.
Well, Shia LaBeouf, he would be the pinky, and then Megan Fox might be the other pinky because they're the tiniest. And then, like, what's the big robot?
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime. That's so stupid that you know the name.
What? I thought it was stupid that you didn't know the name.
What?
Like, you were raised in the
Optimus
80s, for
Prime?
God's
No,
sake.
I'm a G.I. Joe man myself. If you
Like,
ask me, I know the G.I. Joe names.
Megatron, like...
Okay, so the middle fingers, that's like Optimus Prime and Megatron. And, so anyway, hey, look who popped up into the scene. What's this gentleman's name on the right, this good-looking fellow who has come to act in our movie? Not this guy.
This would
Not
be
this
my,
guy with the glasses. The
my
other
first
guy.
scene in the movie.
That's you right there.
Like,
If
we
you
did-
if you don't know you,
Yes.
if you've never seen you, if you're watching this
Yeah,
for the
you
first
wouldn't.
time,
You wouldn't actually know that. That's
you
me
wouldn't
at all.
know, but that is you. That's not that. That's you right there.
Unless you have like skillful voice recognition.
That's
like,
right.
Into your psyche.
That's right.
But I actually wasn't supposed to play or be in this movie at all.
Not at all. Not
But
at all.
we
In fact,
had,
we fought it. We fought that.
We fought either of us being in front of the
And
camera.
eventually
like,
we lost.
as diligently as we possibly could.
Right.
But Shane, the honorable Shane Lampman,
Yes.
Mr. Lampy himself,
Exactly.
had to bolt off to work on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean,
Right, and he
The
couldn't
bastard.
play this part.
but so we ended up, I think, doing like a very intense paper rock scissor game that inevitably ended up chucking me in front of the camera.
And then you walked with him.
And so
Actually,
yeah.
Shane makes an appearance. He is the host of Heartland Justice.
Yes, because we shot this thing for so long. that Shane actually came back from working on.
He was able to come back.
And shocked the hell out of both of us.
Yes. With that huge, he had a mustache that
it spanned the globe.
It did.
It was
huge.
Like it was like somebody like cut off the bottom half of two like old school brooms and stuck it to his face.
That's true. I was going to describe it as, let's say you grew a mustache and then your mustache grew a mustache. That's the type of mustache that he
it was
had.
like a mustache extension. It was like somebody cut off like the half side of a chow and glued it to his face.
That's a great example. And it is a natural mustache. I think there are a lot of people that look at it and go, no.
There's no
They just reject it. They're just like, no, it's not possible. It's not physically possible. It doesn't fit within my realm of.
I remember when we were sitting at the office, and we were because we were
going to film the scene.
We're very like well prepared. So we were writing the scene like 5 minutes before Shane showed up, because this was just kind of a story or a subplot idea we had for a show that kind of took place in the background to kind of push the plot of the story along.
Right.
And we didn't really know what we wanted the host to say, so we sat down. And I remember both of us looking up when Shane walked in the door. And if you see Shane, he's in the gag reel towards the end, like holding the mic with short hair and no mustache. But if you that's the Shane that you know. Right. And you see the Heartland Justice host walk in. Neither me or Dave could make eye contact for like 20 minutes. Yeah. Like not if we actually had to convey anything like important. Right. Like you couldn't look at him and not
burst out into laughter. Yeah, it was just
the world.
And not that it was like scary or anything like that, but it was just like it was so different. It was just so not our friend.
It was like it was like somebody went off and got like plastic surgery.
Exactly. That's a great example. That's a great example. So so he is in the movie. This big thing I want to say: if you're thinking about writing a movie, if you're sitting at home right now, you're watching this, and you're like, "Hey, I'm going to write a movie." When you write said movie, there will be certain points where it will be very easy to type something such as this: TV show plays in background.
Yeah.
Or another great one: characters argue in background.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Someone orders fast food. Okay. If you're going to do this, it's going to be very easy to write that. The thing that you cannot do is write that.
Yeah.
Okay? Any words that are going to come out of the actor's mouth, you have to write.
You have to script it.
You have to script it.
Like we had initially came up with even the show idea. It's just something that we were going to chuck in the background, throw some images in, some rough sketches of the actors that are supposed to be the content in the story.
Right.
But you have to have dialogue. You can't just chuck an actor or anybody in front of the camera and say, make some shit up. We're going to,
It's not fair. It's not fair to them. It's not good for you. And you end up just ultimately getting angry. And hopefully not. I mean, I don't recommend punching or hitting actors at all. But it happens.
No, not after that one day.
Yeah, exactly. It happens. It happens. So,
on a side note, I would like to point out the pole on the right side. This was something that we discovered, I think,
after.
Wow. After seeing the movie 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
That the poll says, well, you can see it.
You can read it. You can read it. We're going to try and keep this
We're going to try
PG.
to keep this PG, even though I think
you've dropped a couple.
I don't like talking about my face.
I'm trying to keep it. I'm keeping it.
Keeping it real.
I'm keeping it real, but I'm keeping it, PG level.
PG level?
Yeah, is one of them. So if I were to fall and stub my toe or something like that while we're doing the commentary track, I would say, oh, shoot.
Fudge.
Cheese and crackers is what I would say.
Cheese and crackers?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I burnt the muffins. I burnt the muffins, exactly.
I don't know.
So,
we just missed my Jean-Luc Godard.
Your Jean-Luc Godard behind the back
I
shots.
just watched his movie My Life to Live, and he recorded a whole scene recording the actors' backs. Like, you didn't see their faces in the scene at all. And, even though that's only like one minuscule little clip, that was because of that great man.
Well, I think once we got Dan and Tiffany out to the location, and we set them down, and you just look at them from behind, they both have really great backs.
Excellent backs.
They both.
Excellent.
I mean, just they're both of them are perfectly formed backs.
Yes.
And that's so rare to find in an actor that we just had to showcase that. So this is your apartment.
Yes.
It's not your apartment anymore. Who lives there now? Have you met the person that lives there?
No,
Are you
I honestly was going to go and give them a flyer and invite them to the movie because they could see their
apartment.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But the kitchen looks 10 times better now.
Yes.
But one of the issues that we had in this scene, again, like sound was probably one of our bigger, I think, issues that we had to deal with throughout the film.
Obviously.
I think whether it be like a lack of equipment or the right equipment or the knowledge that we needed to kind of interject to get what we wanted to get. But Bryan, before coming inside, was actually mic'd by a wireless mic and ended up having the best dialogue throughout the whole entire scene, or at least the most audible dialogue.
Yes.
Until, of course, he comes inside and he falls victim to what everybody else was stuck inside dealing with.
Right. So that's probably our low point for audio right there. That was the scene that worked out the worst.
That was one of the But the apartment itself was kind of a glorified studio. There was a lot of echo that we had to deal with, I think, like location-wise. It was right by like one of the main streets.
Sure.
In Columbus, there was a lot of, I think, external sound that we were dealing with.
Exactly. I just think, I honestly believe that, and I don't know, it's not like I talk to a bunch of people that are in film production.
Yeah.
Okay. But, and I guess professional film production is what I mean. I doubt anybody shoots anything without having to do a good amount of ADR.
Yeah, which we did.
We did no ADR.
I mean, there are a few scenes, like the cell phone scene. I think you recorded that dialogue with Bryan.
Yeah.
And I think there's some additional moaning. I
Right.
think that's ADR. That's right. That.
Why would he have a library book from New York City?
This is actually shot at the Columbus Public Library, the main library branch downtown.
Huge.
Beautiful library. We have, if you've never been to Columbus, we have an excellent library.
Did we thank them?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah. This says Columbus Metropolitan Library.
Sweet.
They're fantastic, and they were nice enough to let us shoot.
They were awesome. Their public relations department was really, really apt to just kind of giving us the free run.
Yeah.
Which is funny because in another scene that takes place, I mean, there's a large level of I don't want to say violence, but like one of the characters shoves one of the other characters into the wall repeatedly, and it was at a very quiet time.
I like how you're being very
Some of them are sold, only the librarians are around.
being very secretive about it. You'll just have to wait and see which character shoves which character.
Yes. I don't want to give it away.
Wall,
I mean, it's exciting.
It's exciting. It's a great scene. It's a beautiful scene.
So.
He's one of the guys. He's the other guy, not Barlow, but the container.
So it's a fantastic location, and they have a great park right behind. What's the park called? Is it called
Franklin Park?
What's the author's name again?
No.
I think it's called Library Park. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Anyway, there's a terrific, and it was actually it was in an earlier scene. You guys walked by
the topiary.
The topiary. Is it called Topiary Park? What's it say right there? Oh, the school for the Topiary Park.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know what it says.
Rewind it and
see what it says, and then just read that and that. If you ever want to go down there, there's this great topiary sculpture that they did down there.
Yes.
It looks like
cool.
What's the painting? Sunday morning on the island of La Grande Jourtie. If I can get French for a moment. Can I get French for a moment?
Go ahead, because I lost you.
And who's the famous pointillist who did it?
Jerry Springer.
Is it George Seurat? I don't know. I went to art school. It's really sad that I can't recall that, but there's only so many things. I love that shot. That's our Indiana Jones shot. We stole that directly from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Everyone was really excited to do it, and it's beautiful. I wish the whole shot would have worked out.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we didn't have a crane,
really cool.
and but that's what they used in Raiders. Is it a crane or a jib? I don't know how high it goes.
I thought it just...
Is there a difference between a crane and a jib? I mean, because a jib is like a short crane, right?
Yeah, I think a jib's more like an extension of the top of the...
I'm going to have to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. I just figured out what a freaking Foley guy does.
Really?
Like, I didn't even...
I love that.
Like, probably
I love Foley.
4 months ago.
kind of hot. When
Like
you think about
I
it.
just
Foley.
anytime somebody said Foley, I thought of Axel Foley, so
Right.
I was totally stupid. We should touch on the fact that that one scene, that one angle of that scene, jeez, took probably an hour and a half. Like,
It took
to
a long
get
time.
that
It took a long
phone
time.
to fall in the exact spot that it did.
There he is.
And it is a crying shame to me that we couldn't get it to ring again
Yeah.
while it was on the floor. Like silently ring, I think that would have been beautiful. But it was an older cell phone that I had, and it wasn't activated anymore. And the reason we use an older cell phone is because we wanted to throw it around and
Yeah.
crazy
We
stuff
didn't
with
want
it.
to throw
And
anything.
we didn't want to
too
throw a
horribly.
new cell phone.
Even with established insurance
Exactly.
policies on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Neither one of us were excited to toss our.
The best thing about this scene.
This scene.
This
Yes.
scene's got multiple, I think, highlights. But the best thing is that me and Leslie Robinson, the character that plays the mother in the story, actually mixed this concoction in the kitchen and threw. I mean, there was alcohol in it, but it was like, Kahlua, like fruit punch, just a bunch of very random things that mixed together to
Rat poison,
and in the
strychnine.
attempt to get that color that we did. But while we were mixing it, we never thought that the actors would actually drink it. It was just kind of this kind of prop that we thought was going to sit on the table to kind of illustrate, you know, Mark Reuter, who plays Barlow, his drunkenness.
Yes.
But it's extremely entertaining to watch.
I think when you see Dan drink it, that is the actual.
That is the real reaction.
I don't think Mark probably didn't drink right there. I think he just let it touch his mouth and slammed it back down.
Benitez was a fighting man.
I like this scene. You like this scene?
I,
With how
this,
this turned out?
this is definitely like one of my favorite scenes throughout the movie. The way that it works.
I think this scene plays really well to Mark's strengths. Because Mark is a great stage actor.
Yeah, an established theater actor.
An established theater actor,
And
indeed.
he was. There were times when he was difficult that we had to kind of pull him down. But this was one of those scenes that we really could kind of let him go with what he's got, and he just really shines in this scene, I think.
Case in point, right here.
He screams, "Ah, not today! He's not
Look at that.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I remember being really freaked out because I was actually sitting just to the left of him.
He screams so loud, so
And it
loud.
was
I think
like-
that he enjoyed, like he was excited to scream.
Didn't
out
we
loud.
record this at like 1 o'clock in the morning? Or wasn't it like one of our later
late.
shoots?
It was late. It was late.
The end.
The end. Exactly.
It worked.
That's one of the nice things is when we found Mark. I think we had sort of a slightly older gentleman in mind for Barlow. And because I think Mark Twain was our sort of initial, it was like our jumping off point for Barlow. It was like, oh, he's like Mark Twain. And unfortunately, we didn't find anybody of that age or description to play him. But Mark was the sort of, what do I want to say, dramatic person.
Dramatic pinnacle. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like he had the right qualities for it.
Nonsense. I'll dictate it.
It's really one of the things that we had to, I think, both kind of deal with is that you write this script and you have these ideas in your head, and when you have no budget and you kind of cast with people that just volunteer their time, and we kind of went back and I think like rewrote a lot of the scenes based off the people that we decided to take the roles.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there were a couple times when I think we just had to go back and you really saw, and when it was to really play to everybody that we chose as strengths.
Sure.
I mean, there was aesthetic decisions to kind of go in and kind of change them. So Mark's role didn't change too horribly much because I think Mark was able to kind of call up that kind of verbose.
Right. Well, I don't think anything was like, it was obviously old manish or anything like that. I don't think we'd written anything where it was like, oh, he's an old man, obviously, but it was just sort of like, he was I guess to use the word, he was a grandiose character. Like he was a really big, like a larger than life character, and that Mark played really well to that. This scene right here we shot in this extremely odd angle, because it was raining.
Yes.
At the time.
Actually, both the actors have umbrellas.
Umbrellas over them right
now. You can't tell.
And And so we put an umbrella over top of them and shot. It was the only time I think that it rained. that we had
Or
scheduled
that we had
an
to
outside
call
shoot.
something off. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the only time that we really had to call something off because of rain.
And this was filmed on maybe a different day or earlier in the day, the wide.
Yeah.
But obviously we could shoot Mark's tight because he was under the overhang.
It was more of like a sporadic drizzle.
Yeah, it wasn't a thick rain.
Obviously, it wasn't hardcore rain because you can't see it.
You would see it,
background.
right?
You would see it stuff on the.
You would see it.
You can kind of see it on the concrete behind
Yeah.
Dan.
Right.
So this is the
Chanting Marcy, subject of 1,001 tales. That is one of the byproducts of working on this for so long, is that I could quote it verbatim, and I try not to, but it happens sometimes.
It's like this movie and Dazed and Confused.
Right,
I
are the
can
two,
just
yeah,
throw
just pop
out
them right out.
like it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, wonderful to meet you, Marcy.
This is another scene that illustrates Mark's consistent hair length.
Yes. Consistent? I think the word you're looking for is inconsistent here.
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent.
Because that scene, this supposedly takes place
moments after.
Moments afterwards. And just amazingly, his hair is cut and trimmed. And
I think Mark went directly inside, got his hair cut, and then went upstairs to continue writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is he wearing the same outfit?
No, well, he put the vest on.
Did he put the vest on?
That's because this is at least mildly somewhat. Well, and then Dan has a different shirt on, so this isn't exactly.
It doesn't.
This
need
could be
to
conceivably like
right. Exactly. But I think the timeline that we talked about was a summer, one summer, the entire summer.
Yeah.
So
it spanned like 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months. So this could be at any time, but I think in the original writing of the movie, this was moments after the other scene.
Yes.
And this is the very, very first scene that we filmed. Was this the first incarnation of this scene? Do you remember?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And this was my bedroom when I was growing up. This is my actual bedroom, and I had moved out of my mother's house at the time, and that's why we were able to shoot in there, because there was nothing in there, and literally there was nothing in there.
No. Like the only thing that was in there was the camouflage, which we only had one set of camouflage curtains. So every time you see these camera angles switch,
we had to move the
curtains. Now, of course, we just filmed the reversals in their entirety.
Yes.
But still, it was.
And those are my actual curtains from growing up. My grandmother made these curtains. She asked me what fabric I wanted, and I said camouflage. And I love those curtains. I still have them in a box. And my mother still lives in the house, and nobody uses that room right now. It's more like it's a guest room. But I still love those curtains, and I'm gonna keep them. I'm gonna be buried with them.
Yeah.
And
this typewriter is one of those things that when we were writing the story, was something that we had access to, like the old-fashioned ambiance. That they end up using.
Yes.
That's just another illustration of just us writing with what we had access to.
Right.
Like in front of the wall, or in front of the wall in front of Dan is some artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that's just been passed down from generation to generation.
Now, I want to say that Operation is the game that they were playing. Did we, in the script,
I think in the script it was...
Sorry?
Sorry. I think it was. Sorry or Trouble.
Something like that.
So we would like to point out that Daniel Allen Kiely is the reason that Operation showed up.
That's right.
And although I think it works comedically, I think it adds this kind of subtle context to the scene.
Yeah. I think both of them really used it to great effect. It's fantastic. Dan worked at Target at the time, and I think snuck it off the shelf. I'm not going to advocate stealing, but I think that he stole it and snuck it out. That's completely not true.
I think he got it for really cheap.
That is complete fabrication on my part. I just wanted to...
I think he shoved it down the back of his pants.
The back of his pants?
At this point, I'm extremely sorry to interrupt.
You're gonna interrupt?
But there's something that we really need to point out that's very, very valuable in this scene, and that would be my mom's huge cock lamp.
Right, and that's the way to say it
in the background. Now you have to. There's a really seamless way to intertwine those syllables. And it is huge. No, my mom's huge cock lamp right there in the background.
Or if you're not Todd, it goes like this: Todd's mom's huge cock.
So that you had stopped by.
Lamp.
Yeah. So if your name's Todd, you're kind of off the hook,
Right,
Because
exactly.
you can really just kind of illustrate it as my mom's huge cock
Lamp. Right.
lamp.
Yeah.
But if you're not me or you're not named Todd,
Right.
it's best to
Exactly.
throw it out.
But-
That was a very entertaining.
Does your mom still have a huge cock? Lamp.
Yes, she does. Yes. The thing that's funny is that if you remember, if you would rewind the movie, actually about like 20 minutes now, and you see the previous like outside scene,
Right.
it's actually mom's huge lighthouse lamp. But my mom had just gotten back from Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
or my grandfather had gotten back from Mexico, and my mom's got this little hen group that her and some of her friends kind of collect hens and roosters and huge cock lamps, and it just happened to be something that we saw, and we had to put it in.
I hear you.
It just craved attention.
No.
You know what's nice about this scene? This is the first time that we sort of touch on something sexual between these characters.
Yeah.
Something, and I don't even want to say sexual. It's just something adult.
Well, I think relationship tension as opposed to just friendship. You know what I mean? Like, because there's some preconceived notions that I think Dan's character goes through in this particular like dialogue. But which is strange. Like at some point in the story, there was a lot more, I think, sexual connotation that took place. But I think just not knowing what was available and what was going to be able to be said and done for free in front of the camera.
Sure.
I think that we kind of roped that in.
Exactly.
So, and this is one of the yet another establishing shots on one of the multiple.
There's
cameras.
Gene.
Gene.
Todd's friend.
If
Gene.
you're listening to this, Gene, or anybody that's listening to this that would like to know kind of the story behind this, I apparently totally and absolutely tricked Gene into recording this. I called her as a favor. We needed something to kind of throw in that was on the TV for this scene to kind of perpetuate the whole injustice. Again, touching on that whole, if you're going to write TV show, be aware that it will involve a heck of a lot more than just putting TV show.
Right.
And so in a pinch, we needed to kind of get a hold of somebody that could play this role. And so we jumped over to Jean's house and recorded this. And I think in the midst of trying to play to her longing for involvement, which she did not. I think I kind of had to push a little
Longing
bit.
is the wrong.
Yes, definitely. She
The
wasn't
opposite?
too horribly excited, but I kind of I kind of banked in some friend credit and told her that we were just going to use her dialogue. Right. It's just something that was going to play in the background, but she would not be seen on screen at all. And I had a conversation with her about a week ago where I had to confess that she would be on screen for about 3 seconds.
Bait and switch.
Yeah.
Bait and switch is what we call that.
Yep. So she will. She will, I'm sure, undoubtedly love that.
Ah, there he is. I've done some wonderful things. Let me run them by you.
This is an interesting.
Where were you
camera
and,
angle you've chosen
Mr.
here. I like to call this
Katanga
stage huge
before you
floating
came
head
here?
orb.
You mean
Yes.
right
It's
before
like
here?
huge, it's a huge floating.
Well, now let me see.
And
We've been
Dan
so
has
many
he's
places.
what I would like to
I
call
believe
a
it was
beautifully
Reno.
shaped
Katanga has a bit
soul.
of a problem with the
Just
gambling,
that's it.
and God
No,
bless him,
that's
he
all I'm
thinks the
gonna say.
slots
But
are
I
loose
think,
there.
well, I mean, that's all
I
I'll
know
say
what
about the
you're
skull.
going
I
to
think it's
say,
just
and I
beautifully
told
shaped.
him
And,
Vegas is the place where the action
you know, I
is.
told him that
But
before, and he just
poor
kind of
devil,
like
he is a
plays it
visitor
off
to
like
this
it's just
country.
it's not a
And
compliment.
I suppose you can
It's
only
almost
expect so
insulting.
much from him. Oh,
And,
by the way, I've come
you know,
up with an
I don't
idea
know.
for chapter
Anyway,
23.
I think he's a very
What?
handsome
We're going to call
actor.
chapter
And if I were a
23
lady,
Gabriel's Revenge.
I would love
Gabriel's
him.
Revenge?
I would love him.
Yes, you know, a chapter title.
Actually,
After all, it
the
is really
one of the
Gabriel
movies that Dan did
Sammartini's
after
chapter.
this,
But we haven't titled any of the other
chronologically, but
chapters.
was
Yes, I know, but I
released
thought
before
we
this
might
movie.
break the rules.
He's
No,
naked.
let's just call
and
it
you can
chapter
see
23.
his butt.
Don't you just want to break the
And,
rules sometimes?
The
think
rules are
that's
there
so
for a
fantastic.
reason.
You think it's
I
fantastic?
think it's
Isn't it?
fantastic.
You've seen
And not
his
his
butt?
not his
Sounds
butt.
like
I just think that it's fantastic that he had the courage to take that thing out and shake it around. Because he had to be fully naked for the show.
Yeah,
Do you
he had
remember
to
he
walk
told us
through
about
like a
this?
group of
other
a
men.
group of other
It's the
men.
final word.
Stark
With
naked.
stark naked.
I think he
Exactly.
woke up as a werewolf or
That's what it was.
he was
Yes.
terrorized as a werewolf and
Yes.
woke up naked. Had to kind of reestablish.
He was terrorized by one.
This was no, I think he was attacked and he turned into a werewolf.
I see. Have you seen
He had gone. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Where did you say that? Did you go to the screening? Because you weren't at the screening that I was at.
I don't know. I don't know what I saw.
You didn't get on video.
I want you to remember tonight.
I saw it at some point. I think
I spent all day getting everything together.
Anyway,
Dragged the lawn chairs out of the attic.
Interesting. We won't mention the name of this movie. It's up to you to go find it.
Yes. Just look up Daniel Allen Kiely.
Daniel Allen Kiely.
He'll be fun.
This is our favorite scene. We love this scene so much. That was my Oprah voice. Did you know that? I was gonna not do accents.
Do I get a free car then?
Tell me what
you get a blue whale.
I was busy.
You get a blue whale.
I was right.
That was horrible. Is that what Oprah sounds like? Or is that
No, that's what her guests sound like.
Right.
If you ever see
if you
it.
get a free stuff. Does
Just
she still
watch.
give out free stuff? I don't think she gives out
I
free
think
stuff.
she does from time to time.
You know,
She's so rich that
I
she
don't know when
just,
that's on.
she just gives dum-dum suckers to like...
bored and unhappy with yourself.
So we're talking over what is probably our favorite scene here. We just love this scene so much.
It's just so well acted.
It's well acted. It's beautiful.
It's just one of the times that we were just kind of,
I know where I'm going. I'm doing something. I mean, this writing thing is really going to
I just want to throw out too. I think as much as I like the shape of Dan's skull, I really like Tiff has great eyes in real life, and they look really great here.
Well, I think they definitely like show a
grief counselor or a psychiatrist or something.
They're so shiny.
And I think what really helped us out in the scene is the isolation of the outside light source, because we were able to easily kind of tie that in and use that. And but I remember at the particular day that Tiffany was a little uncomfortable.
She was
with her read, which was, or I think had a lack of competence.
Confidence or confidence?
Confidence. As far as her, as far as her read goes, and which is so amazing because it's probably the best acted scene in the whole entire movie.
Exactly.
So
don't come back.
So Tiffany,
never want to see you again.
Well done.
Live and learn through that.
Well done, madam. You have lovely eyes and
amazing.
you're a good actress. Now Dan, on the other hand, I'm gonna look at this guy a little bit.
Yeah.
Just look at this scene here. He's just typing.
So this is
lifeless.
the fisheye lens.
This is the fisheye
lens. Give it a little bit. I want to say, like, even though I'm sure that somebody will grade this as being kind of a naive project, I think to some extent, I really think that we did keep this very interesting. I mean, if nothing else, we tried a lot of different stuff, a lot of different angles, and aesthetically, I think we really kind of, even in the midst of not knowing exactly what we were getting into, I think we really managed to pull off
here?
Yes.
A lot of creative
really great. Yeah, there's definitely like a style to it.
And it's not static, just perpetual like images. I think we really tried to do something different.
Yes.
At least approach everything a little different.
You know what? I was talking to somebody about the movie today, and I was telling them that I think it was a great cleansing project for us. We didn't get to try a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what my obsession with binocular shots is. I just love a binocular shot. Like I love dudes that would do binoculars with other dudes. That sounds weird. Let me rephrase that.
I like to watch dudes.
Anybody watching other people through binoculars for sneaky reasons. I like that. I love that in a movie. I love. I don't want to give anything away, but I love seeing people tied to chairs in movies too. I like that.
It's gonna jump in there.
Yeah, exactly. Someone might end up getting touched. I hope that you're not watching. Hope you don't pop the DVD in and go right to the commentary track. Like,
I would do
that. Yeah,
we're probably.
Can't we just
go back? I mean, unless you're watching like White Chicks.
That's true.
Like because
because
it's not like you're gonna derive anything. Besides.
Is that a Smashing Pumpkins shirt?
Yes, it is.
I am going to be right.
I know this is completely off subject, but the Smashing Pumpkins are doing acoustic. Did you hear about this?
I know.
Acoustic set. Do you know how much money?
I don't think you should be involved with this.
It's $40.
$40. But it's like it's Halloween night. Acoustic, beautiful Newport Music Hall.
Yeah.
In the heart, the very center of Columbus culture, right down in the
of the trashy campus culture.
I really do like the Newport. I know a lot of people are down in the Newport. Love it.
I think the Newport. It just depends on what venue and what time of year that you watch, because they don't have any air conditioning. So and the 2 weeks of like really nice hot weather that Ohio gets, you have to see a show during that time. It's horribly uncomfortable.
Why would you want to go see a show during 2 weeks?
I mean,
we saw the Hives there.
All I'm asking for
and
is
several
for
other
you to
people.
tell them that they can't
It
come
was.
in the house anymore.
It's if you're in a town right now, you're watching this DVD, and the hives are within 600 miles.
611.
Shut this DVD off right now and drive to it right now and go watch that show. Awesome. That's how good it was. It was. I think girls became spontaneously pregnant. And I'm talking about young girls too. You know, like 14, like girls that weren't like up to sneaking.
Yes, that's great.
You know, like just from listening to it.
Like, no, Mom, I just went to the concert. I started to.
That's crazy.
I sat on a dirty toilet.
What is the right? And that's one possible. What is that called? Immaculate conception. I was going to say immaculate perception.
I think I have someone living in my house that was featured on this show.
That's like.
I missed some of the episode, and I don't want to.
Okay, so the voice that you're hearing on the other end of the phone is a gentleman who has. He's probably got the most acting experience and anybody in this.
Yeah, like old theater actor
from
the United Kingdom. That we actually we really sent over a script and an old school theater.
He's fantastic. Amazing. Yes, exactly. And he's me.
Yes.
I should say.
Yes.
And I'm going to come clean here. I was being a little facetious. I had no acting experience whatsoever.
You did require there to be strawberry Pez.
I did. That was sort
of
set
any time that you had to do any kind of like dialogue or acting. I thought it was kind of strange, but it was good. So
yes. What'd you say? I love this broad shot that looks out the window. You can see the Grant Hospital in the background.
Yeah. This was one of the scenes where Dan actually ended up with bruises on his chest because we did that particular section of that scene easily over 30 times.
Right.
I think just to get, I think to get coverage. I think the first 10 were probably line mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely secured the name as 13 Take Todd.
Yes.
Majority of any scene that I was involved
Indeed you did.
Hold on, Doug. What were you going to say? I need information.
There were people actually studying like 10 feet away from us. And
where are you going?
Continued to slam him up against them.
Right. That's how we do it.
I think at some point there was actually like
the reason it sounded so familiar is because we have.
I mean, we really tried to focus on getting Dan beaten and hurt as many times as possible. I think in the initial script he wasn't even struck like at any point at all.
It's just when we met
Dan,
yeah.
But I'm gonna find out.
We had to write in at least 2 to 3 instances where he was physically abused.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta go.
I just want to say quick too. I love this wide shot here that we do. I don't think you're going to see it again. It's the wide shot just before this, because there's a little sign in the background that says the name of the street that we're on, and the name of the street is Library Drive.
Nice.
And it's like, hey, where are we at for this scene? I don't know. Oh, look, there's a sign. Library Park. That's where we are. Library Park.
Nice.
So let's go back because, nothing makes me happier than seeing Dan get punched, kicked, hit, or knocked to the ground on screen.
And it was all fake, but it was just... There's something fun about watching it.
There's just something fun about watching him get picked on.
We had actually done you'll never know this unless you listen to the commentary track, but we'd actually had this side kind of gag that was going on that is, of course, probably the numerous gags that we had kind of going on, I think, behind the camera, where Dan would hit himself in the nuts to get the performance. The testicles.
Medical term.
Yes. In between scenes. And we had this kind of gag going that whenever Dan had to do something really emotional or
now you tell
impactful in the story that he can try to stop me,
but no matter how hard he tries,
just abuse
himself.
And so we have a lot of random shots of Dan kind of off in the corner, like kind of taking care of that so that he could get the best performance that he possibly could.
And maybe someday we can make a deal.
Barlow has something that belongs to
some sort of extended production of the DVD.
What is it?
When we're
a documentary or something.
When we're really bored and poor,
we will include.
I don't know where it is.
You know, you're a terrible liar.
I want to talk just for a second here about our main man. Call him Lord Frank, call him Amanda Afolabi, call him Frank Afolabi. This gentleman, Onesimus is another alias. He is an amazing actor. This gentleman here, who I just call him Frank because that's my favorite.
This man could seriously read the back of a Betty Crocker directions.
He's got quite a set of pipes.
You would be enthralled. And that's actually the first time that his character actually speaks
yes.
in the whole entire story.
Yes.
We wanted to kind of keep him as a mysterious sidekick, I think, to Barlow's audience.
So this is a delightful location. I think it's called Glen Echo Park.
I think you're right. Or at least I think down back
Farther.
behind where the camera is.
Yes, and we shot a couple things here. It was a great little location, and I don't think we knew that it existed before we shot it.
Yeah. I think we actually found it, I think not through the access of the stairs that they just ran down. I think we were actually at the Echo Park,
It's a piece
probably
of paper.
50 yards back into the woods,
Yeah.
and we're just kind of walking around scouting locations before we started shooting.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we
Newspaper
did, was just sort of like run around.
They're
And
after
just
that
kind
book.
of get,
We went. Do you remember that area that we went to? We didn't get to go all the way down
It says
to
in the
because there
title,
was like a
my-
homeless guy.
My
living.
brother's keeper. Barlow wants that
Because you
book.
remember there's that area.
oh yeah,
Arcadia.
behind the Tim
That
Hortons.
too.
That's the
on,
right.
It's
it's a
Exactly.
huge construction area.
Arcadia. Arcadia.
That's called. You know what that's called? It's called the
Gates of Hell.
Gates of Hell.
And I just learned that recently.
library
Is
has
that
one of
other people call it the Gates of Hell?
Oh,
and I
yeah.
had been. I'd been there a
through the
couple
homeless
times
community,
as a kid, but I never realized that that's what people call it.
Yeah.
And anyway, and it's a shame that we couldn't get that into the movie because it's a cool area. And but literally when Todd and I went to scout the location, there was a homeless guy
In a tent.
in a tent
That was halfway.
that was blocking our access to the area.
Yeah.
And
But it was an old skating area too.
yeah, it's big with skaters. It's a huge sort of like, I don't know,
It's
you
got
know,
a
if you
story.
call it like alt.
Like there was a killing down there, I think, for
Really?
some sort of drug related.
Really?
Ballard
Interesting.
Barlow?
Is that just a wives' tale? Or do you
It's
think
a
there really was
pseudonym.
No, the whole reason that I found out it was Gates of Hell was because of Drunk Gary. Drunk
Has been
Gary is
destroying copies of this
kind
book
of
for 13
a
years
staple
now. And
to
one of the last
Colonial
ones is in
homelessness.
our public
And
library.
he's the one that told
Why
me
would he kill our father?
about Gates of Hell, and that there's actually supposedly
This guy had nothing to
there
do
is a
with
Gates of Hell that's
Bullshit,
a
John.
government
You
run
can't find out how
homeless
Dad fits into this whole mess.
facility. Like it's
I
a
guess I'll have to.
large out in one of the Dakotas or someplace out
Thanks for
in
nothing.
with a lot of like open land,
Mhm.
and it's a huge area that houses a very large majority of homeless people.
Do you hang or talk with Drunk Gary a lot?
I wish that I would have. I talked to Drunk Gary when I was working at the laundromat.
Really?
We spoke for probably 7 hours of my 8-hour
Because
shift.
I've known you. How long have we known each other? Probably good.
Are we going back to Blockbuster?
All right, let's go all the way back to Black. I'm gonna say 10 years, maybe something like that. I love how much blood comes out of his mouth here.
It's so
Because
great.
once again, it's a cleansing thing. It's like we wanted to just do some fake blood.
We had like this huge Dixie
Huge.
cup, and we had already done. I think that was the third or fourth take of that, and Dan had actually asked me and Leslie how much blood he should take, and me and Les basically illustrated that he should just down the whole
just
thing.
take the whole thing.
Because we'd already gotten kind of a good take,
Right.
so I think the last one was just kind of for safety,
Sure.
and it's just the amount of blood was so entertaining to us that I think we
I
ended
love
up
it. I love it. It's like she clearly cut an artery.
like in his lip.
Do you have an
even
artery?
have a main artery in your lip? Like, you know what I mean?
So much blood squirted out of his
Like,
mouth. But I love
chunks.
it. I love it.
Well,
So,
I know what you're up to.
I did, but I
I'll let you
never.
get away with
I've
it.
known you for that long. I never heard you talk
We
about
seem to have a
Drunk
problem.
Gary.
Drunk Gary.
Well, I mean, he was
He's obviously not a significant.
he was there for
Really?
one day.
On the
Was
part
he?
of a
But he had some great stories.
man
Stories,
such
Like,
as yourself who-
he
That's
actually
so great.
he lives by the Olentangy River.
Does he?
Like, he has like and he apparently has over 200 Ohio State hats.
Is that a mailing address?
I don't think there's a
Olentangy
mailing
River,
address.
because that's
Yeah.
kind of it's
Yeah.
a large area.
Yeah.
I'm going to
So-
humor you in this matter.
He's a lovable
As much for
scamp.
my own satisfaction.
Yeah,
Scallywag?
I think you just chuck like a note in a bottle and
And
throw
then
it
just
at
float
the,
it down
like,
there
the
and
kind
have
of base.
collect it
of,
for the
Yeah,
money.
Like
you
if
get
you need
when
a
turn it
note,
in.
if you just want to get
Right now.
information to Gary, I think you just chuck
That's
it.
not going to happen.
In
So you
all
go now, or I go to the
seriousness,
police.
I really like Dan's acting in this scene. I think he did a great job.
I like
In
it.
fact, I think in the latter half of the
You
movie,
remind me of
Dan really
me when I was your
understood what
And it is because of
what
this
we needed
fondness
to do,
that I'm going to
and
play devil's
probably better than I did,
Let's say
at
you
any
And,
don't
points,
have
he
and really did it.
understood his character. I
Yeah,
think,
he
a lot.
just really
How
understood what the
managed
latter
that
half of
there
the
is a
movie needed to be,
wanted felon in your house?
and
How long do you
he just
think
really
it
raised the
takes
bar.
before they
And
come
Dan was the
up
one who came up with the
waving
initial
a flag
idea for the
beyond
ending.
the county line?
Yes.
You and I couldn't really figure out how we wanted to end it. We had an idea. It wasn't as strong as what Dan came up with.
And
Dan-
Leslie had actually come up with an idea also that we really, really liked,
Right.
but ended up going with Dan's because I think it definitely kind of it made the story go a little more full circle. I still think that Leslie's idea was brilliant.
I think Leslie's idea was good
It just
too.
didn't work for what we wanted to I
Right.
think, accomplish in the end.
Right.
are never going to speak of
that was another thing too that was odd about this process was that
everything is copacetic.
I found that on occasion we would make a decision that I felt like was in the best,
all your little friends at the
say, the best interest of the project, or the best interest in sort of the aesthetic of the project, and it upset one of the actors, or something like that. And like, you know, Leslie's a great example where there was a lot more Leslie's story to the movie, and we dropped it. And I know that she didn't like that, obviously, because she wants more screen time. But it wasn't. It drug the story down, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's more our fault than anything else.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I think that we wrote this the way that we wrote it. We really included a lot of scenes that didn't perpetuate the story, and we got down to it. And that's just of us, of a kind of a lack of knowledge of the process.
Right.
But I think when we got down to actually edit, we had, I mean, just right off the bat, probably 6 or 7 scenes that by no means, like, there was no information within the scene that needed to convey, like, the perpetuation of the story.
Right.
It was more just maybe, like, just, illustrating the relationship between the two characters, but not actually having any, like, context about the subplots or any of the plots involved. So we really had to drop, like, quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree.
But I think every cut that we made and every scene that we excluded, we had good reason to.
Exactly.
There was no motivation.
It was all about what was best.
Besides, best for the project, yeah. So.
But then it's awkward because we're in this relationship where we like the actors and we all became friends, and you know it was never a situation where it was like, I'm gonna cut this because I want, because this person's being a jerk or anything like that. Yeah. And that never happened. That was another thing too that I think when we cast this movie, okay, we tried to pick people that didn't seem crazy. Well, because we had a couple people that auditioned that I think seemed.
My plan is to.
I don't want to say like crazy, but just like they would be difficult to get along.
There's really a name that I want to touch on right now.
Right, exactly. And I know you're thinking the same person.
Sheer professionalism.
There's that binocular shot that I love.
There's a guy that just. Yeah. Just very, very
the
interesting.
less said about him, the better.
Yeah.
But we had somebody who was obviously way imbalanced. I mean, there was some. I guess what I'm saying is like there was one person who was like scary, insane, and then I think there was a couple of other people that I think like they would have been hard to work with.
I think like
fit well with the group.
I think Bob's like a really good example of somebody like when Bob came. Very great gentleman, Bob.
Right.
Bob Maines.
Bob Maines.
Right. But he, when he got up to do the read, he did not have the best read through when we were actually recording the scene.
Right.
But when we took Bob off the stage and sat him down and just kind of discussed with him kind of like our project and kind of our mission statement, I guess, as far as this project would go, he was reading the dialogue and doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I think like that illustrates a lot of like just of what we picked and why we picked the people we did.
Yeah.
Because like everybody had, I think we were looking for a certain attitude and a persona.
Right.
And I think that's what we kind of derived our selections off of.
Exactly.
And I think it really worked because when we initially got everybody together for the powwow about how this whole thing was going to unfold, we had actually told them that we were going to be filming for 3 months.
3 months.
3 months, and that we were actually going to rent a house to film and be the shell of the main Curtan residence. And
this did not work at all.
Shooting ended up being at Mr. Ball, Mr. Dave's mom's house, my mom's house, a few random apartments. And shot for a year, and then edited for 6 to 8 months, you think?
Probably, yes.
Close to a year. And then realizes that we had some gaps, and came back and filmed for another 3.
See, once again, and that goes back to that. The story was going in a particular direction, and we kind of felt that there was a better way to take it, and that necessitated a little bit of cutting.
Yeah.
And, some of Leslie's scenes ended up, being cut. And that sucked because we really, we love Leslie and she did a great job in the movie. But once again, it was like the story was was heavy and needed to be slimmed down.
Well, and then the story too. When we initially started shooting, we didn't. The story wasn't done. I mean, we didn't have any kind of solidified ending in place. And I think one of the things that kind of forced us to come back and kind of reassess where we were at after the first initial passive editing is that the story had changed once these people had gotten involved.
Yeah.
And their personalities were kind of taking over what their parts kind of dictated. We kind of figured out a little bit more about what we wanted to do with the story because we knew what the people involved with it were capable of.
Right.
And so a lot of scenes were written, I think, within a short amount of time, and we had to go back in and kind of make that stuff relevant. I can kind of cut in.
I hear you. Oh, our favorite shot.
This
makes us laugh so hard. It's not. It doesn't make us laugh anymore. I think we've blown a funny fuse on this, but
we recorded this I think 4 or 5 times.
Yes,
right.
And every time it was brilliant.
Every time it was brilliant. There was actually a shot where it takes him over 2 minutes to.
I think this is actually every single shot goes about 2 minutes. I think we just cut this one down. It's just you can't put those gloves on quickly.
Yeah.
It's not a quick process.
So.
But Bryan really understood what to do with that.
He just brilliant. He's just got this quirkiness that just resonates.
And I love that they're purple as well. These are, I think these were discards. My mother's a nurse and she got them from the hospital and they were discards, or she stole them. I don't know, one or the other. My mom's a little klepto-ish. I'm gonna tell everybody.
You're just gonna throw that out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out for everybody. No. Completely lying. My mother's not a klepto. She's a wonderful woman. And but somehow she got these, and they were really fantastic. I love that they're purple. I love that he's dressed in black. I wish that once again, and if we had money, I would have put Bryan in a ninja costume so quickly.
A ninja costume.
A ninja costume.
I remember you touching on that before.
Right. A ninja but no cowl, no thing over his head. Okay, but just because he strikes me, the character strikes me as the type of dude that would completely wear a gi. You know what I mean? And he would be the type of dude too, right? He wouldn't just wear the gi to go to karate practice. Okay, if you're going out to McDonald's or something, he would put the gi on and go to McDonald's.
That's what we wanted him to be.
Exactly, and that's just the type of guy he was. Because he wants people to go oh, hey, are you in karate? I'm no, me a little bit. Or
no, I'm a ninja.
Right, exactly. He just wants. He so badly wants to be.
This is the way you want to play Find My
Man.
This particular thing.
Set that fry on the table and let's see how quick I can grab it compared to you.
I love that Mark allowed us to jam
Bound
this handkerchief into his mouth. I remember explaining to him too. I was it's completely clean.
I
cleaned it myself.
Did we?
It is. It was very clean. No, it wasn't. It was very clean. I mean, still, it's it's a handkerchief, and I don't think we ever used it.
It would have been really great
dirty.
if Bryan's character, Bryan Arnold, plays the brother. But
did we ever say Bryan's name?
I don't think so.
We did.
But he, it would have been really great if he would have taken off his sock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just been
that would have been awesome.
No, I couldn't.
Once again, right? We can only ask so much of these fine people.
I think we do have some sort of misconception that if we actually did pay people, that we could really abuse.
Yeah, and I don't think that we could. I think
that there's probably still some sort of constraints. But in our head, if we actually pay people, we're going to be able to do whatever we want.
Right.
Go get it. Whoa.
Because I think that's the thing that will scream at them is that, I can't believe I'm paying you and you won't let me cut your hand off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in the last movie, I bet that I could have gotten somebody to let me cut their hand off and
for
I
free.
wasn't even paying
For absolutely free.
For zero.
We
for
would
$0.
sell it back on.
Right,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Obviously. Obviously, we wouldn't just take the hand and keep it. That's ridiculous.
Sell it on eBay.
But yeah.
Stupid fucking book.
Ooh, the F-bomb comes out. That's one of 4 F-bombs.
Well, I think it's 4 now because the one in the credits.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And they're all delivered by members of the Arnold family now, which is weird to me.
It's true. It
is. Except for Shane's at the end.
Yep. A lot of profanity comes out of that Arnold family.
It does. They're very.
Wait. Is that?
They work a little blue. You know, they work kind of in the blue. It's fine. We love them. I think this is another great example of the actors really understanding what the scene needed to be.
Doug, we've actually got to get
because it certainly wasn't at any point art directing that was helping them understand things. I think, and I realized this afterwards, this is an awful thing to do, but I like to reference other movies, or I liked to reference other movies to the actors.
Yeah.
Because it just made sense to me. It was like, hey, you know that scene in Return of the Jedi when blah, blah, blah. I think I said that to Manny at one point. Right, you remember this? And I'm like, hey, you know that scene in Return... And it doesn't have anything to do with anything. And it's a stupid, horrible, bad way to direct.
The difficult thing is that when the character that you're trying to, or the person that you're trying to convey that particular scene or that particular characterization, like if they haven't seen the movie,
right,
it's a very difficult sale,
right,
like sell. Like it turns a 5-minute conversation into like a half an hour. Well, like in the scene,
right. And they won't. The thing that I found too is that the actors wouldn't tell me right off the bat that they hadn't seen the scene that I'm talking about.
No, they would let you go for quite a while.
Because the big one is the one at the beginning when Mark and Frank are laughing at Dan, and I kept saying like, this is like that scene in The Big Lebowski when the dude, he goes to visit Maud, and there's that weird guy, David Thewlis plays that weird guy that's sitting there.
Yeah.
And they start speaking in French and laughing, and it's like a whole thing to sort of isolate the dude and make him feel weird.
Like kind of, yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted for the scene, but to explain it to them that way is the most horrible, bad way to do it. And I know that now. That's nice. So I'm going to try and interact with them as people in the future, and not my little robots to control. Well, exactly, little sock puppets to control. And I love this shot. This shot, the inspiration for this shot is a great shot in the movie Willow. Do you remember?
Yes.
I talked about what the inspiration for this is. Yep. And there's a shot when there's a dragon in the castle, and all of a sudden a dragon pops up, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to go see the movie, but a dragon pops up, and Val Kilmer's been fighting this whole army of people, and this dragon pops up, and then all of a sudden Val Kilmer and the army, they go running out of the castle, and they're standing sort of in the gate, the portcullis, something like that, and they look in at the dragon.
Hello?
And then they look back at each other and they're like, oh, hey, that's right, we're kind of fighting a war right now. Maybe we should get back to that.
I gotta go.
And that's sort of the inspiration. I always loved it's a great shot. It's a great shot. Yeah. If nothing else, that shot makes the movie Willow, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, there's another great shot too, when he's gonna kill the dragon and he's on top of this bridge, and he's like, I think he's saving Willow. This is Val Kilmer again. He's fighting like trolls or something like that. And there's this part where right before he's gonna jump down on the dragon's head and kill it, and there's this great little part where he kind of like looks off and sighs for a second, like, oh great, okay, now I gotta go do this thing. Yeah. And he does that and he jumps on the dragon. And I always thought it was so brilliant.
The camera in this particular shot is actually.
You don't want to talk about Willow anymore?
My sister. We totally can. We can go back to it.
Can we go back to it?
We can rope it back.
Let's not get off Willow. No, okay. So your sister shot that?
My sister helped with a few of the external shots, and that was actually me walking into my apartment.
Yes, it is.
Dan was not available that day.
Boom! There we go. We're using the dolly right there. It's beautiful.
Yep. And the dolly worked out very, very well. I think in a lot of shots to kind of hold things in a little bit more.
Yeah, we're gonna use it again here. Bring it back. Yeah. You can actually see in the interim between shooting. The last time we saw the kitchen, you actually painted the kitchen. And you can see it in the background there a little bit.
Yeah. You're not angry, are you? We want to make sure we don't hurt you.
But once again, taking 4 years to shoot, things changed. Yeah, exactly. Hair lengths changed. Yep. A lot of the actors were really great about keeping their hair the same length and style, and I really, I appreciate that. They sacrificed a lot to make this movie happen.
Besides Mark. We love you, Mark.
Right.
But yeah.
But your hair is up, down, all over the place. All over the place, dude.
But a man can only take so much.
She didn't have a car. I mean, it could have been just a lack of ability to get out to get a haircut.
That could be. I don't know.
But
yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Straight to the airport.
But
you got on a plane.
This is a great scene.
This is Bob Maine.
Bob.
First scene, who's playing the role of the Curtan father.
Right.
Stuart Curtan. And he has been missing the whole entire movie.
That's right.
And Apparently, it was just.
I don't think that you ever know. Leslie's character's name is Flora. And I don't even know what the inspiration for that was, but her name is Flora. And I don't think that you ever hear it during the movie.
No.
And the family's last name is Curtan, as in window curtain.
Yeah. Yep. Spelled exactly the same.
Right.
I think Curtan you hear though.
I think you hear it at the end.
I think.
In
Well,
the
I
last.
think Mark says it.
Does he?
Mr. Curtan. I don't know.
I don't know either. I
You
don't
think I'd seen this movie?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Have you seen this lately? I mean, anyway.
Wait, son.
I don't know why Curtan. I think because we wanted it to be simple.
Possibly.
It had to be like something generic.
Yeah.
It had to feel sort of generic to us in some capacity. So this is the last time you're gonna see Todd's beautiful apartment. No, actually, it pops back up really quickly at the end.
Yeah, for Susanna's, I think, credit.
But it is a beautifully designed apartment.
And there's beautifully designed letters by
Thank you.
Mr. Dave.
Yeah, cut those out myself.
I disappeared into the night.
And then we're going to be, this is the Upper Arlington Public Library.
Yes.
Why don't I keep saying Grand
We
View
call it
Public
the
Library?
R. Williams Library. There's
That's right.
there's actually quite an interesting little story behind that.
Yes.
Initially, it was going to be called the Wilford Brimley
Yes.
Library. We had a little trouble finding out what Wilford's middle name was.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
So we did the next best thing and made it the Remo Williams
Library,
Library,
exactly.
which just
Great
happens to
movie,
be
if you haven't seen
Wilford
it.
Brimley.
There's Santa. What's Santa Claus get in this movie? Every time I see it, I think
Easter bunnies in the background. What you can't tell is in this particular shot, this particular angle, is that almost everybody involved in the movie is right behind Santa.
Yes, right behind
So
Santa.
Stuart, Flora, Curtan.
Yes. Brian and Tiff are there.
Brian and Tiffany, even though I'm calling them by their real names as opposed to
their character names.
Here's Bob. Bob showed up on set so excited about this guy.
He was so excited about it, and we couldn't not include it in the movie.
We had to put it in there.
We had to put it in.
He had like a pump. He was ready to go.
Yeah, he was like convinced that we could do that. And
this was a scene that we actually wrote on
Yes.
the day of.
That's
The
right.
actors were showing up, and I was upstairs like typing
it. That's right.
And it didn't work, I think, the way we had it in the movie.
I don't know that it
works well here.
Yeah, it just
I
in
think
the structure, it just didn't work because we initially, I think the idea was for the ending that John was going to return home.
Well, it's
quickly
almost
to get
like he was
stuff.
going to stop by every place that he had been throughout the movie,
Yes.
and then just kind of jump on a bus
To wrap it up.
and take off.
Did you enjoy wearing handcuffs for that shot? I mean, obviously that's not the first time you've worn
I'm not
handcuffs.
uncomfortable in handcuffs.
Right.
So
You've worn them for other reasons before, I guess, is what I'm trying to imply.
lawful and unlawful.
There's the lighthouse lamp in that shot.
Yep.
The not Todd's mom's huge cock lamp.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is.
So what's the actor's name again? That looks like Santa.
Sal.
Sal.
Sal something.
Sal. And Sal's a great guy. He was fantastic to show. Or he was fantastic. He showed up and he was fantastic.
Everybody
really
that
friendly.
showed up here in the end was
great.
great to come out because we really didn't have too much to do with any of them showing up. I think Kiely handled a bunch of invitations. Mark had brought, I think, 2 people with him.
Right.
And so our actors kind of threw out some stuff.
Right.
Jats is in this scene. He's a great local writer, filmmaker. David Lim, I
believe.
I think Lim. He's
the guy that asked the question at the end.
Yeah.
It's almost professional. I have a pretty vivid.
And what was her name?
Sarah.
I have a question.
Sarah? I only met her that one time. She's a friend of Mark's.
Yes.
But she was kind enough to read that.
We'll have to ask the people that made this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like who those people were.
Right. Because maybe they should get on top of it.
Maybe they should
know
get
the
on top
names
of
of the
They're
actors.
Respectful.
Right.
That
showed up.
their tongue.
Anyway, if you're watching this and you're an extra that showed up, we really want to say thank you because
awesome.
We really appreciate it.
I can't wait.
Do you remember the story about Dan and his shoes? Like Dan was horribly probably 45 minutes to an hour late to film the scene because he didn't have the right. He had tennis shoes. He didn't have the right dress shoes.
Right, and you never see them.
And we remember telling him on the phone Dan, we're not going to see your shoes, man.
Right.
It's going to be okay.
Right.
But It worked out. They were good looking shoes.
They were, and they
like I don't even want to say that they were.
Hopefully, they make him feel good.
Like shortly after this, I chased him outside, beat him down, and took them.
Yeah,
we just didn't throw that into them.
And you're wearing them today.
Yeah,
which is great.
They look good.
Exactly.
They feel nice.
Exactly. Okay, so that's basically the movie. That's the end of the movie, except for what I like to call the funny stuff.
The stinger gag reel we put at the end to make sure that everybody walked out of the theater happy.
So you might hang out a little bit longer.
But
it was actually it was important to us to say that this movie was produced by the Indianola Picture Group, which is basically the people whose names you're seeing right now, which is sort of I guess the name of the group of the first people that sat down,
like the 12 to 11 people. I think that
we initially
we just wanted to
for the movie.
We wanted to call it a group just because we had all come together as a group,
right?
Like to kind of get things done.
And it was hey, there's Chris Showman's name. Chris Showman got married today. Just want to throw a congratulations to you, Christopher Showman, for getting married today. He helped us out with some matchmaking.
Our assistants,
yes, our assistants, Roger Thornhill, Gilbert Trout,
and Jeff. Was willing enough to submit his footage of my giant robot.
Yes, which is great. It's a short right now. Hopefully it'll be something more someday. But big thanks to you, Jeffrey Body, wherever you are.
Yes.
Big thanks to the bands Tiara, who was great. Tiara makes up a bulk. Tiara? What am I saying? Tiara? Tiara.
Yeah.
But you see it on the screen. Those are the people. Go visit them. They're fantastic.
Everybody involved in the band is very nice.
Also, the good people at Florida.
I don't have any money.
Which was actually their CD was given to me by a friend of mine, Bryce Wilson.
Bryce,
who apparently one of the band members' wives worked at the store next to him and gave them a CD. And I tracked them down on MySpace, and they were more than welcome. And the Summit Brothers, they were awesome.
Good stuff too.
Got them through a friend, Michelle. Still haven't been able to properly contact them and thank them for their contribution, but very, very good.
Big thanks to Space Junk Media, our employers, who were kind enough to let us use equipment. Mike and Ron, very nice. Robert Rodriguez, calling out to him because we love him. Lloyd Alvarez, who we used some software that Lloyd had written, some free stuff. The color corrector was really great. There's your family.
Everybody, all my
Wilford
family
Brimley,
and friends for having to freaking listen to this talk about this guy for Sand Project for 5 years. Thank you very much.
Gene's name.
Aaron Brown's actually Misty Mundane.
Yeah, good for him.
So maybe someday.
CVS Pharmacy, thank you very much. Maybe someday we'll tell that story.
Yeah, because if it wasn't for CVS,
we wouldn't
their horrid inequality.
That's right.
We wouldn't be here today.
That's right. And here, the very last name. This is Lampman's Lady Love is New Lady Love. Hopefully that will pan out.
Dolce
Laura Hernandez Sosa is her name. And I know you can't tell from the way that I found it, but it's a really one. So, hey, there you are in the background holding that weird.
With
plunger.
normal hair color.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're gonna see everybody. This is the full Indianola Picture Group roster. This is Bob, Big Bad Bob.
Yes.
Fantastic job.
Lord Frank Onesimus.
Frank Onesimus. Alfamenda Aladi.
Awesome.
The lovely
Susanna
Cerasuolo.
Where's that?
Beautiful young woman.
She was good. One thing about her is that she was allergic to cats. So like she had to dip out of that apartment like every 10 minutes. So
Brian doing his best David Bowie here.
After a word from our sponsor.
Here he is. There's the mustache. The mustache
me
that
out.
launched 1,000 ships. The face that
like
launched 1,000 ships. He's great in this scene. And
that's a real mustache.
It's
still, even though I pulled it,
it's
still.
The lovely Leslie Robinson, thank you.
Yes.
Tiffany Arnold. The beautiful, the luminous Tiffany Arnold.
Leslie, thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Tiffany.
She sent out the email updates to all the cast members. Was really diligent about being supervisor.
Mad Mark Reuter. There he is, right there. The man himself, Daniel Allen Rilo Kiely. Thank you very much for all that you did for us. You're a beautiful man.
Big sexy, my friend.
Big sexy, indeed you are. Indeed you are. Who's this guy right here?
Oh God.
This is a funny little scene. Yeah, you were looking at me, and I couldn't stop laughing, and you couldn't stop laughing.
No, like we're surrounded by people that are attempting to be professional, and we're both the directors, and
we can't be
act,
professional.
and we cannot stop laughing like ridiculously.
That was me eating stuff there.
Yes.
And this is something we shot on the very first day.
Yeah. The man you hear up to the side is Chuck.
Chuck. We don't know Chuck's last name. Chuck
I
stole
want
your
to say
book
like
and ran
Chuck
off.
Yeager, but I know that's not
Chuck,
it.
it's not Chuck Yeager. That's a different Chuck. That's a different Chuck.
Like he had something. But yeah, Chuck stole my book.
He helped us out for a day, and
then he stole my book.
So big thank you, Chuck, and thank you for listening to the commentary track. My name is David Ball,
and my name is Todd Russell. Thanks for checking out our flick.